We've begun once again to read from the book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis, which, as you know, documents the early history of the world, the early history of mankind. And undoubtedly the most significant figure which emerges in that remarkable book is Avraham Avinu, Abraham, our father. A truly remarkable man, a holy man, a prophet, the man who discovers the one true God and becomes his ambassador in the world, the man who the rabbis say repaired the rift in the relationships between God and man after the disaster of the flood. And yet this holy man had a core of steel. And he reveals this in an incident which is recorded in Parashat Lech Lecha. Let me set it in context. 5 local Palestinian kings, Canaanites, and they were kings of cities, not countries, rebel against their mighty overlord Amraphel, who is identified with Hammurabi, the lawgiver of Babylon, who comes together with his confederate kings and their armies to suppress the rebellion, and they do so with Middle Eastern success and thoroughness. They take away the people, the property of the land they've conquered, and prepare to return them to Babylon, much as the Babylonians would do to the Israelites centuries later. But at this point, the Babylonian armies are at their ease, they can relax. Who's going to attack them? They needn't fear anybody. But they got that wrong. Because among the cities they subdued was Sodom. Among the inhabitants of Sodom whom they captured was Lot, the nephew of Abraham. And when he learns of this, he acts with alacrity and energy. He summons forth his army. Now, did you know that Abraham, our father, the holy man of God, had a private army? Over 300 well-trained, well-armed soldiers. And together with his confederates, he's going to take on the mighty forces of Babylon. But it won't be confrontational. He can't face them in the field. What he will have to do is use his strategic genius. And he divides his troops into smaller groups, surrounds the Babylonian army, and then under cover of darkness attacks, howling and screaming, blood-curdling cries. So the Babylonians imagine they're being attacked by a much larger force. And they run. And Abraham runs after them. He chases them out of Canaan as far as north as Syria. He then returns to bring back the property, the people of the local kings, restore them to their rightful owners. And he's given a hero's welcome. Melchizedek, the king of Jerusalem, comes forward to greet him, and he was the priest to God Most High, the creator of heaven and earth. El Elyon Konei Shamayim Va'aretz, a phrase we know from our prayers. And he brings him wine and bread. He greets the hero. And among his other activities, he blesses him in the name of El Elyon Konei Shamayim Va'aretz. Also, the king of Sodom comes to meet Abraham. And as an act of gratitude, he says to him, look, give me back my people. You keep the property. You keep the money. It's your reward. And how does Abraham react to this generous act? In a less than generous manner. He turns on the king of Sodom and says to him, Harimoti yadi el Adonai el elyon konei shamayim va'aretz. I raise my hand to the Lord God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. I swear, im michuto atzeroch nar v'im kach mikol asher lecha, that I will not take anything of yours, from a thread to a sandal thong. V'lo tomar, so that you should not say, Ani ha'sharti et Abraham, I made Abraham rich. Now, why this overpowering response to a generous act? Well, he's already given one part of the answer. He doesn't want the Canaanites to say, we made Abraham. But there were other considerations. In rescuing his nephew Lot, Abraham was fulfilling a debt of honour, a family duty. And he wasn't going to be paid by the Canaanites for honouring his family. Secondly, Abraham rightfully regarded the land of Canaan as his. God had promised it, given it to him. He wouldn't take money from the Canaanites for protecting his own property. And finally, he wasn't going to be treated as a mercenary. Here's your money, take your pay and be on your way. To which Abraham responds, no way, I'm here to stay. And I think that Abraham's drama was reenacted by his descendants in the modern world. At the end of the 19th century, Jews began to make their return to what was then Palestine, to create a yishuv, a Jewish settlement. They bought land that was worthless at an impossible price, but they drained it, made it arable. They built farming settlements. They started to grow their own crops. They installed sanitary conditions, fresh drinking water. They built schools and hospitals, brick by brick. They were building a Jewish state. And as you know, in 1948, they declared that reality. The state of Israel was born. And what was the response from the kings of the East? The Arabs. They descended upon the little Jewish state with blood-curdling cries, with one intent: destroy it, eliminate it, and cast every Jew off our sacred Muslim soil. But then something happened that no one would have expected. The Jews fielded an army. Now, Jews hadn't done that since the days of Bar Kokhba, 1800 years earlier. Of course, there had been the uprising in the Warsaw Ghetto, but that was a resistance. Here we have an army of young, well-trained people, armed as the best they could, who took on the mighty forces of Babylon, the mighty forces of the Arab world, and defeated them. Who could have imagined this? Who could believe it? Jews were meant to be pushed around. They didn't push around other people. If a Jew was killed by an Arab, well, he had it coming. If a Jew shot a Palestinian, war crime. And Jeremy Corbyn would be on the next plane carrying his wreath to honour the memory of the dead martyr. But Jews did it. And in so doing, they were giving a message to the world at large. We are not interlopers here. We are legitimate settlers in our ancestral land. This is not a Zionist entity, as you choose to call it with contempt. This is a sovereign state established within our ancestral territory, and we are here to stay. So live with it or choke on it. We are here to stay.